Hey, this is Walter Schmid speaking, author on the book on super yacht sales, 7 Swiss top secrets to success. But now, today, I have a very special guest. His name is David Seal. Now, who is David Seal? First of all, hi, David. It is really an honor to me to have you as my guest on this interview. And I'm happy to have a short talk with you in terms of super yacht sales, in terms of promotions, marketing, whatever it is. And especially I want to know about you, what you're doing. David, hello, how are you?
Hi, Walter. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you too. Thanks for spending some time with me.
You are very special in this market. Why? I observed you for a while already as a broker. You are not a typical broker that I can find on the market. You are very innovative. You're really looking forward into what is going on in the market, and you are just very quick and bring in new ideas. But let me know, and let also the listeners know. Tell us about you. Who are you? What are you doing? What is your specialty, and why are you David Seal?
Thanks, Walter. That was a big build-up. I've worked in the yachting industry for about 25 years now, and I really fell into it by accident. I moved to Italy from the UK. I was looking for work. I was selling gift items, and I heard the local businessman wanted to learn English. So I thought, well, while I'm building up my gift item business, I'll teach him some English. And the businessman was Norberto Ferretti, who's the founder of Ferretti Group of companies. So I really fell into the yachting industry by accident. I have to say, I'm not somebody who is fanatical about yachts, particularly. I like yachts, I appreciate them, I enjoy being out on the water, but I do find the business of yachting really very fascinating. The business side of it, the people that you meet, the characters, the dysfunctional business models that are in the yachting industry that we're all aware of, I think. And so I worked for Ferretti Group for about 10 years, but really felt at the end that my calling was to be a broker. I used to love talking to clients, to yacht owners and to yacht captains, and really trying to figure out what was best for them, what was the best yacht for them. And I think that used to annoy some of the people I've worked with at Ferretti Group. And in the end, it was clear that the best thing to do was to become a yacht broker, which I did in 2006. As you probably know, those were golden years of yachting. It was almost impossible not to sell yachts, right up until September of 2008, when Lehman Brothers crashed, and it had a very bad effect on the yachting industry. I think we all thought, yacht owners are so wealthy they'll never be affected by a world recession, but we were really quite wrong on that. So we saw big names in yachting go bust, orders drying up, and it was a massive shift in the yachting industry for everybody, whether they're a broker or a builder or a yacht manager. Everybody was affected very badly by that recession. My reaction to that was I went from working for a very small brokerage company. We used to like to call ourselves a boutique yacht brokerage, but actually that was just a nice way of saying we were a very small yacht brokerage. I loved it. I loved the people. I loved the buzz and the vibe. But I thought, if I'm going to survive, I need to go to work for one of the big names. And so at that time, I went to work for Camper & Nicholson's. And I learned a lot there about brokerage and at a very high level. I mean, the office next to mine was Alex Lees-Buckley, who is one of the most successful yacht brokers in the world. He was very generous with his time. With me, he used to take me out for lunch occasionally, and I learned a lot from him and a lot from a lot of the other experienced brokers at campus.
What was it actually that made him so successful that you could learn so much out of his know-how and experiences?
Well, Alex is one of the most discreet people I've ever met, so you probably won't appreciate me talking about him too much. But what I will say about him is that he's a great listener. He has an incredible knowledge of yachts. And when his clients call, he jumps. He really does. Despite his success, he's never let it go to his head. He's always understood that the client's the most important person. And he's a damn hard worker. I mean, in spite of his success, his first in the office, last out, really quite an inspirational individual. But one of the things I noticed while I was there was that every yacht brokerage follows the same pattern, which is that, and here I'm talking about yacht brokerage when you represent a seller, because when you have a buyer in your hands, it's a whole different scenario. When you have a seller, that's a whole different strategy that you need. And the strategy of every yacht brokerage was to do a nice photo shoot of the yacht, to do a video of the yacht, to put all of that material online everywhere you can, on your websites, Yacht World, Yachtco, so on and so forth. Organize technical specs in both a branded and a broker-friendly format, and then just send out lots of emails to the world community of yacht brokers. And pretty much from there on, you are sitting back and crossing your fingers, hoping that inquiries will come in. And I found it very frustrating that every month I would write to my clients whose yachts I was trying to sell and say, we have had so many hundred hits on our website, so many inquiries. And the clients would come back and say, I'm not interested. Why haven't you sold the boat yet? Have you told people about my gyro speed stabilizers? Have you told people about the €1.5 million refit that I've just done? Have you told people about the fact that nobody's ever slept in the guest cabins? They want to know that I'm showing the same passion for their yacht that they had. And at the same time that I was observing that, I'd been a long time in Italy without having any English television at all. And, as much as I love Italy, I have to say their television is pretty bad. So around about that time, I think it was a website called Film On came to my attention, and I suddenly managed to watch English television. I was binge watching location, and Top Gear and Grand Designs and Gordon Ramsay's fantastic series. And I realized that if you're going to do a video of a yacht, we fall so far short in the yachting industry by just abdicating that responsibility to a videographer. And there are some great videographers in yachting, but what they are doing is showcasing their ability to take video. You don't really learn anything about the yacht. Now, when I was younger, I very much wanted to be an actor. I never followed up on that.
Well,
desire,
you still can. Still can.
It's never too late, is it? It's never too late. So I've always felt confident talking to a crowd of people. I've always felt confident talking to a camera. So I made a little experiment, and I got a camera crew together to film one of my listings, but to do it in I don't want to say Top Gear, but a Top Gear Grand Designs Hotel from Hell, whatever, an English documentary style. The video is very successful. And I'm so stupid, Walter, that I didn't do another one for about a year after that, because I'm a slow learner. When eventually I did do another one, that was very successful. And then to cut a long story short, I've already made it quite long, but eventually 2017, I'd moved from Camper & Nicholson's to Northrop & Johnson, mostly because they had shown great enthusiasm for my videos. And the COO at the time, who's now the president, Daniel Ziriakis, he said, look, if you come to us, we will support your efforts. We will back you 100% in what you want to do. So I moved there in January of 2017. I went hell for leather at building my video offering and building my YouTube channel. It raised the eyebrows of some brokers. It was met with criticism by some. But now, 3.5 years later, I don't think anybody's criticizing it. And it's become, in my opinion, probably the most powerful yacht marketing platform in existence. I honestly believe that. I think that if you want to market something properly, especially yachts, you have to have a strong presence online. It would be lunacy for anybody to think anything other than that. If you want to have a strong presence online, then video actually takes up 80% of all internet traffic now. So you have to have a strong presence on video. And if you want to have a strong presence on video, you've got to be big on YouTube. So the strategy, that's basically what my strategy has been. And so far, it's working very well.
I absolutely agree in terms also in the videos to not only get the attention, but also to deliver the value through the video to the pictures that are moving, obviously, and also together with the voice, the tone and everything. And that's what I actually observed. Also, in your videos, you're not under my radar, you're on my radar, absolutely, which is amazing. And that's something that I'll see also for the future, a huge market opportunity and a huge potential that comes up. And that's something that you definitely catched up on. As you said, well, first you earn some criticism and some observation from people that are really skeptical in terms of if this is not working or not working. But that's the typical way. First, people, they look and then they laugh and then they are criticizing. And by the end, they are questioning, why the hell am I not so successful like that guy? And then they catch up later as well. So that's the regular cycle.
And I think to a degree it's quite understandable because YouTube is associated with many things. YouTube's associated with kids larking about, sticking their head in a washing machine and filling it with cement, which somebody did, by the way. It's associated with all kinds of frivolous and stupid videos which are very successful. And so it's easy to throw the baby out with the bathwater and think that it's not a platform that we should be using. And that's the biggest mistake that even many large brokerage companies, big brokerage names, avoid YouTube because they feel that they're too exclusive to be on a platform that's also populated with frivolity. Such a big mistake. Google own YouTube, and Google will promote a YouTube video on Google searches every single time. In fact, I recently did an experiment with some colleagues and also some competitors. Mm-hmm. And as you know, if you do a Google search using your computer, it will favor your past search history. So unless you log out, you won't get a neutral, unbiased Google research result. So I asked people who don't watch my videos to search on Google, not on YouTube, Mangusta 165 for sale, Mangusta 130 for sale, Palmer Johnson 120 for sale, all things that I've done videos of, all very specific Google searches. And nobody in their right mind would say that somebody, a serious buyer who's looking to buy a Mangusta 130 or a Mangusta 160, of course they're going to Google it. Of course they will. I can tell you, Walter, my videos were number 1, 2, and 3 at the top of page 1 of Google for all of those searches. So, if a brokerage company is not taking YouTube seriously, they are really going down the wrong path.
Well, maybe one day they will realize, and then you have some more work to do. Who knows? That might happen. But however, thank you very much for this information. But now, as we have a very unprecedented time with all this thing that's going on with COVID stuff, lockdown is also the next step. Again, in some countries they talk about, in some countries they did it already. And they talk about the second wave, which was mentioned before as well. And the impact on the market is extremely high. Now, as you have mentioned as well before, Lehman Brothers, the crash and the impact on also the yachting industry, the same or similar might happen and do happen right now. How do you realize that there is a market drop, a market crash? How do you realize that in a market that is filled with a lot of wealthy people, not only wealthy, but especially in the super yacht market, there are the people with a lot of money, but even those people have to take care on their money, on their businesses for the future. Do you feel anything that is going on in terms of this COVID stuff in the market?
Yeah, it's definitely had a very big impact. It would be impossible not to. We've seen at Northrop & Johnson that the charter side of the business has been very badly affected. And my heart goes out to charter brokers this year who have just seen the whole market, the rug pulled out from under their feet in the most unexpected of ways. I with regard to the economy, I listen to what economists say, and I come to the conclusion that their guess is as good as mine. I mean, they seem to get so much wrong that I really don't know what's going to happen to the economy at all. I know that as far as sales go, and as far as my personal experience with sales has been this year, remarkably, it's been unaffected. But I don't believe that's the case across the board. I think there's been an element of luck. You know yourself that in sales, there's always an element of luck, being at the right place at the right time. But I think what worries me more, Walter, to be perfectly honest, economies go up and they go down, and the human race is very resilient, and we'll get through this. What worries me far more is the mental impact that it's having on people. I feel a tension that I've never felt before. I'm 54, so I've been around for half a century now, and I've never felt such tension in the air as there is right now. And then when things happen like this awful explosion in Lebanon, that tension gets even more taut, and people are even more on edge. And that worries me because, small businesses are going bust. Some big businesses are suffering. I read yesterday that Virgin Airlines are filing for bankruptcy, I think, in the United States. I mean, that's a big name. And what worries me more than the economy is the impact it's going to have on human lives. And I don't want to sound, self-righteous or anything with that, but it really does worry me, because I have 3 kids who are, growing up and having to find their way in life. And on perhaps a more practical and positive note to that as well, shortly before COVID happened, I'd been listening to a lot of these sort of online gurus in business, and you can learn a lot from them. I think you can get sick of them as well, because everybody seems to be a business guru these days. And but if you pick some of those big names, your Gary Vaynerchuk's, for example, and you listen to what they're saying, and sometimes you have to ignore the way they say it, but just listen to what they're saying. They have good advice, and something that I really picked up on is that as a yacht broker, and I don't know how many yacht brokers will listen to this, I hope many will, but as a yacht broker, your revenue is based on one thing, and that's the sale of a yacht. If you sell the yacht, you can have a bonanza year or 2 years or 3 years. If you don't sell a yacht, you're in a whole heap of trouble, because your entire revenue is based on that one thing. And a lot of these online gurus preach the need to have multiple revenue streams. And, I've been a broker since 2006, so 14 years. And
quite a long time.
As I said earlier, I think I'm a bit of a slow learner, because it took me to listen to all these people to think they're absolutely right. And so when I was hit with COVID, I mean, not that I've had COVID, but, when the world was hit with COVID and my circumstance changed, thankfully, I changed my business model so that I already had multiple revenue streams online, and I was able to sail through that period without too much stress. If COVID had hit 2 or 3 years ago, I don't know what I would have done. It would have been an absolute disaster.
Actually came that terms just in the right moment where you were already prepared. And as if you have mentioned as well, multiple streams. As a broker, I think it's really time to pivot the business model. And I've seen a little bit what you are doing. So what would be your advice, your personal advice to the yacht brokers in terms of surviving mode? What should they do? What is your advice that you will give to give them more hope as well, and more prosperity for the future, and also opportunity that will open up? Obviously, we don't know which direction definitely, but it will be there also many opportunities, also brokers. What is your advice that you would give to the brokers?
I think definitely to to not turn your nose up at jobs which are going to pay a few $100. I'll give you, and also to diversify. I mean, I went straight into sales. I never learned to be a charter broker. I kind of regret that. I mean, not now because my YouTube channel's going very well. I'm very happy with it. But had that not have happened, I would have been well advised to learn to be a charter and sales broker, because the two feed off each other very well. If you have a bad year in sales, it'll be a good year in charter, and vice versa. But then there's lots of other opportunities too. There are, for example, insurance companies will sometimes pay a yacht broker to have a broker's evaluation of a yacht, which is very different to a surveyor's evaluation of a yacht. Surveyors, in my experience, tend to put quite a high value on yachts, whereas a broker will know the market. A surveyor will know the yacht better, there's no doubt. But a broker will know what's going on in the market. And so some insurance companies will pay for their evaluation. To have a little bit of yacht management work that you do as well is always very, very good. Just my advice is, diversify, try to have multiple revenue streams in. Don't turn your nose up at jobs which are just going to pay a few $100. But the other thing I've noticed as well, particularly with younger brokers, is that you can get stars in your eyes at the thought of a really big listing. You know, let's say that you've only ever sold 50, 60-foot yachts, and then all of a sudden you get the opportunity to represent, you know, a 40, 50 million euro, 50, 60 meter yacht. And people go bananas for that, because immediately they start dreaming of what they're going to do with the commission, and what it will do to their reputation, and what it could potentially lead on to. However, the fact is that 50, 60-foot yachts, 80-foot yachts, you can make really good money out of selling those, and you can sell them, because there will always be a buyer for a Ferretti 80. There'll always be a buyer for a Sunseeker 84 Predator. So your investment of your time and effort and money in marketing that yacht is a reasonable risk. You know, you can make, you know, 50, 100, 150,000 commission from those sort of yachts, which is not to be sniffed at. It's a good commission. But that big 40, 50 million euro listing, you could have that for 3 years. You could put all of your time and effort into it. You could fly halfway across the world trying to meet people and never get it sold. There is not such a big market for those listings as there are for the smaller listings. So, you know, there are brokers out there. You know, I look at Stuart Larson, and again, Alex Lees Buckley, Merle Wood, of course, Jonathan Beckett, who have an amazing address book of buyers for those yachts. And so for them, it's a sensible risk to reward strategy to pursue them. But for your average broker, you know, for me and for many others, I mean, I was very fortunate that the first yacht I ever sold was a real whopper. It was a huge yacht. And at the time, my boss said to me, "Don't think for a moment that you're going to do this every year. This was a once in a lifetime experience." Yeah, and he was absolutely right. I mean, you know, I think now if I was to get that yacht offered to me for sale, I would probably share it with a broker who has that address book of you know, big clients. But yeah, that advice really to any broker listening, and especially younger brokers, is, you know, don't get stars in your eyes. It's not always, it can be a poison chalice to have some of those big listings. Sometimes it's a focus on what brings in the money.
I think that's a very, very important advice, as I can imagine that those sprinkling in your eyes comes up when you're on such a yacht, or you have the opportunity to see only the millions, the dollars in front of your eyes that actually lifts you up from the bottom. And then if you crash down, it's going to be hard to stand up again and follow through. So thank you very much for this advice. I think this is really valuable. And yeah, it was actually a lot of information from you, David Seal. And it is a great time. It is a very challenging time. And I'm sure, I mean, what I heard from your services, what you do, what you changing, what you're innovating, you will be most probably, that's my personal guess, always somewhere on the top of the broker chain. And that's amazing, because we need people like you, David, that are innovative, that have also the courage to change something, to do not something new, to have also the power and the energy to push through. I think that's something very important. If you start something, is you push through, no matter what, because you believe in something that obviously worked out and will work out also in future. And that's something which is really important in the yachting industry, because the yachting industry, as I know it, is a very hard industry to change based on the customers, also based on the whole past that had happened and how the structure was up in this industry in terms of sales and approach to clients. So that's my perspective as I can see, and I'll know it from my side. And now it's going to be time to make an impact in the market. Are you ready for this?
I certainly hope so. I mean, there's a lot of changes going on in the market. The company I work for, Northrop & Johnson, has just been purchased by MarineMax, which is a huge company, which then also owns Fraser's, and they've been quite public about it. It looks now that we will become one big brokerage company with a massive fleet, and I think that's exciting to me, because I've learned to become more of a team player now. If I get inquiries, I share them out. I really believe that everybody should focus on what they're good at. I really genuinely believe that. And I'm not a particularly great broker, to be perfectly honest with you. There are much better brokers than me out there. They're more knowledgeable brokers than me. There are brokers who keep in contact with their clients much better than I do. There are far, far greater brokers out there than me, but there's nobody better than me at video marketing. And I'll put that out there and challenge anybody to, to defy that, because I do think that I do the best video marketing in the industry. So I think everybody needs to focus on what they're good at. For me now, being part of this massive company that's emerging from the MarineMax acquisition, it's exciting, because I'll be working with a team with some of those greatest names in the yachting industry, and I hope that they'll allow me to do their video marketing for them, and I in return will be passing on inquiries to them, and it's a very exciting, very, very exciting time.
Great. Sounds really good also for your future. I want to thank you very much, David Seal, for this amazing interview, for this amazing and high value content that you delivered to me and to the listeners. And let's go forward and see what the future brings up. Do you have any final words to say? I'm all out of words, I think. I don't know who your most of your audience is, but obviously people in the yachting industry, whether they're sort of crew or brokers. I think the important thing is right now that there is this tension around due to COVID. We don't know quite yet when it's all going to be over. So to a degree, I think we all need to be in survival mode. We all need to try to be a little bit more considerate of people around us and what they're going through. And we'll get through this and no doubt enjoy better times ahead. Cool, great. By the way, I will bring in your website below so that people can find you if they want to reach out to you, to ensure that the connection, it will be visible, because I want to make sure that your know-how is not only in your circle, but everybody has to know that is looking at this interview where to find you, so that you are not undiscovered, so that your value goes spreading out to the world of the super yachts and the yachts, and perhaps even for other companies too, who have nothing to do directly with the yachts, but they are maybe amazed as well about what you're doing in terms of video marketing.
Great. Thank you very much, Walter. I appreciate that.
This was Walter Schmidt, author on the book on super yacht sales with David Seal. I call him the broker marketer #1 in the world. That's not what he said, that's what I said. So listen to what he's talking, go on his website, get in contact with David Seal, and I wish you now, wherever you are in this world, a wonderful, great, amazing time. Stay safe and make sure that your business is going well.